Three case studies showing ICT supporting hard-to-teach topics in secondary English. Using a visualiser camera to show pupils' work to the whole class. Using discussion threads to study the GCSE poetry anthology. And making video trailers based on a set book.
We're going to think about that list we had, aren't we? We're going to have that list of...
At Easingwold School in Yorkshire, English teacher Philip Grossett uses a simple overhead visualiser camera to display material to the whole class.
This is a visualiser, and it's, put simply, it's a camera on a stick. It plugs into a projector. It can plug into a laptop as well, but that's not the way I've used it in this setup. It allows me to project anything, any object, an exercise book, an artefact, an object. So I can grab an exercise book and I can present it, we can talk about it, we can analyse it together. I was hit by an icy heat, so I think I'll have that. What we're doing today is we're trying to turn a piece of prose into a piece of poetry.
The cold clawed at my face like a provoked tiger, because it kind of fits in with the rest to die a bit.
Brilliant, OK. And we can discuss some of the word choices. I can get my pen out, I can start highlighting, questioning things, suggesting alternatives, and together we can make changes to a text in a way which is quick, doesn't have to be planned, it's spontaneous, and which I think helps to engage children in the drafting process.
You could put -30, comma, an icy heat. So you like say
any text can become an interactive text. I think that's the key benefit, certainly in English, to the visualiser. Have you got something lovely for us? Here we go.
I chose all of them because they all sort of tie in together with all snow and the fact that the person is sort of on their own in the middle of this like snowy sort of place.
Brilliant. You don't tell us that you opened up the tent, you don't tell us you stepped outside, you don't tell us you looked around, you've just kept the bits which are to do with mood and feelings. The particular hard-to-teach bit is that process of drafting. Because a typical problem that students have is looking at a finished piece and thinking, well, they can't get there, they can't get all the way to that wonderful finished piece. Or they make a first attempt at writing and they get stuck. They think that's it, they can't think how to change it. What have you got so far? Are you worried about it making sense?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, don't, because you don't need to worry about it making sense. Put down Fast and Furious Wind. What might go next? You might not use all of them, so if you don't like Rosy Red Nose, because you don't think it fits with the other things, just leave it out.
Okay. I don't know whether it fits together or not.
Okay. Is it easier if you just pick 3 or 4 lines and don't worry about the rest of them? Footprints made a slight imprint in the smooth snow. That would be a lovely way to finish it, wouldn't it? So why don't you try that? Right. Okay, what have we got there? We've got the blanket of night, inching across the sky, stretching for miles and miles, cheeks burning red. I felt so alone. Silence. Super, Katie, really well done.
I felt that putting the silence like that was going to be quite a good idea because it's the only one that's bold, so it's like alone. Mm-hmm. And when it's silent, most of the time you're alone.
Absolutely, so we've got putting the word silence on its own. What I might do, actually, Katie, if it's all right, can I make a few changes? Yeah. We might mess around with punctuation. I felt so alone, silence. Now, if we want to really... The main role of the visualiser in this lesson is to open up that drafting process. So it makes that whole drafting process much more interactive. It opens up that thought process and it gives them ideas for how they can then go and redraft and change things. And it gets over that barrier that once something's committed to paper, it's permanent. It isn't. It should be a process of change, and I think the visualiser helps to encourage that. What else could we do? Anyone else has got a suggestion? What could we do with the layout of the poem, maybe?
I might have put, you know, where the Towering Mountains bit, she's got quite a lot of long lines in it, like next to each other, and you could maybe even it out by putting like Towering Mountains, then you could on the next line put in front of me.
That's a nice idea. So we might have some other shorter sentences. We might put some space you know, before and after this, maybe, if we're laying it out. It's not a big thing, but we might put some space in. Yeah, we might have some other shorter sentences beforehand. So, yeah, really good idea. Excellent.
Quite liked the bit at the start because it's where it says I stepped out of the trench in which I slept. I inhaled a cold, musty air. It has quite a good rhythm to it. And then I decided to add my breath simmered up the ice-infected slope because it sets the feeling of travel and what the landscape's like. Because if your breath's simmering in front, it's going to be cold. And after wilderness, it's like got a ... Then it's as I continued on my journey to like the finishing touch in a way.
OK, so we've got a bit of suspense there, haven't we? Treacherous. No signs of being able to stop. Fading away until nothing is left. An unfamiliar stench. Stop. Tears rolling down my cheek. Pain. Right, it's very mysterious and enigmatic. Tell us about some of the choices you've made, Emma.
Well, I put the stop because she was like, the poem was like going on about how bad it is, so like it's just like stop everything that it's saying. Like,
OK.
if that makes sense.
Again, do you mind if I scribble, Emma?
No, that's
I
fine.
like scribbling. Treacherous, no signs of being able to sleep. Stop. Fading away until nothing is left. That line itself is brilliant. What about this line? What about this one-word line, stop? We could move that to the end, couldn't we? So maybe that's something to think about changing, cutting, changing, adding something to. So there's things we can do to carry on tweaking this.
Yeah. I think it's good because, like, if they've emphasised a word, you can see how they've done it, and you can see all the commas and all the punctuation that they've used. Rather than just the way that they say it, you can read it as well. I
think students do come to enjoy having their work shared and critiquing each other's work, but it is a skill that needs to be developed. And ideally, the visualiser becomes embedded in day-to-day teaching, so they get used to it, they know how it works, and they get used to the idea that their work at any point could be displayed and could be shared with the whole group. And so it's a process of coaching, I think. But you know, the beauty of the visualiser is, from a technical point of view, it's not very difficult to use, and it's also the kind of technology that can be used without completely replanning what you already do. Do you want to come out and read it? Stick under the camera so we can see it.
I'll stand here so I can see it properly.
Yeah, wherever you want to, wherever you can see it, Ebony, yeah?
Silence. No one in sight for miles. Freezing snow burned. Coldness shooting up my spine like 1,000 crocodile jaws.
Round of applause. Thank you.
At Dane Court Grammar School in Kent, English teacher Carol Wheel uses wiki pages and discussion threads to help her Year 11 GCSE students study their poetry anthology.
The anthology is a huge tome. It's 28 poems, and they've got to know them inside out. They could be asked to talk about any four, and they've got to interrelate them as well, make relationships and interpret. That's hard for A-level students, never mind for GCSE. And for a teacher, the hard thing is how to get it in their heads.
To help her pupils prepare for their exams, Carol set up some secure wiki pages on the school server with background information about all the poems. But she found the most powerful feature was the discussion area, where pupils could exchange their own ideas. They call these whole-class online discussions Wiki Wars.
We use our personal opinions and the notes to, like, war against each other. These are the comments from everyone so far. So Mariam's initial comment was, is the poem about love or hate? And then Bailey's commented saying, I believe the poem is about lack of love for another. The babysitter does not feel anything for the child, not even simple agape love. What do you think? And then Mariam's gone on, and then Mariam, and then now everyone's just getting involved in this. We'll chip into this now. I'm sending it to Mariam now because of what she's just said about, she said Kirsty is wrong as she does feel a motherly love for the baby, and that's why this experience is so agonising for her. Yeah.
I'm replying.
Perhaps when it's really hot words. It's far more fluid, it's creative, and they're actually doing the thinking. I'm simply the facilitator. So from that point of view, the hands-on approach and the sheer fun approach, the informal side of it, means that there's a whole range of being collaborative. There are people who would never have spoken to somebody else in the classroom or even questioned them.
It's about whether it was the mother's fault that her son disappeared, and it's just started at the moment. But I'm going to try and argue with this person here.
It's about a mother losing her son, and the question that we're discussing is if the son of the mother is actually as good as she makes him out to be, because she actually glorifies him in this poem, but he left her. So could he have perhaps done something bad to make him leave?
Some students are wiki-warring about several poems at the same time.
Well, everyone's just ganging up on us because in babysitting, these three here are ganging up on us, and on digging, them two over there are just ganging on us, but I think we'll hold our own against them. In this poem, it's about how a lady is babysitting a baby, and she doesn't love the baby, but they're saying she does have feelings for the baby, but I believe that she doesn't have feelings for the baby. She cares more about how she is doing than the baby. But,
So I was wiki-warring with Alex, and I noticed that he's pretty much accepted that I've beaten him in the wiki war because he's contradicted his earlier statement, saying that Healy's pen is better than his father's and grandfather's shovels, but then he's later said that they are equal, which I stated to him, so he's accepted that. He's lost, really.
Tom is studying, he's going to the digging against Alex, and I'm going for the field mouse with Bailey.
And we've been monitoring that while we've been attacking other people's poems. So
Alex has just responded, so
let's
see.
Check that.
Is that her digging?
The topics highlighted in purple are those under discussion, and there's been 60 views on the page that me and Alex are discussing, 13 replies, and Alex has just replied just now. I have not lost this wiki war. I believe you have not seriously read the poem and what it represents, as it is all about his admiration for his father and grandfather when he was young, and how now he is doing greater things than them. He's contradicted his previous statement, and I'm gonna talk about how, yes, I agree with Alex about the memories of how he admires his father and grandfather when they were young, but I think there's an equal mentions of Heaney's pen and literature and his father and grandfather's shovel.
But you've got one little thing you've got to look at, the very second line, the squat pen rests snug as a gun. That simile, why do you think he's using the word gun, like a cannon? What's he doing that the shovel didn't do?
Attacking.
What?
The English, and I suppose he's bringing up imagery of the IRA.
So do you think Alex could be correct? I know you'd hate to admit it.
I don't like to admit it. I'm going to try and get out of it somehow.
I simply pointed out a simple simile he might want to look at that might prove you were right.
I'm winning this wiki war, so that's all that matters.
You're going to win?
Yeah.
Come on, Tom.
Alex, you've already lost one. Alex, I'm with you.
This one is about politics, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that the
Easter
Irish
1998, the Irish thing. How about you put in post a message or a subject? Post a message. Is this poem obviously political? And then we'll see if anybody else cups up it.
And over the other side of the room, this question soon gets a response.
I've just opened up another argument, so we're doing 3 at the moment, and I've opened up the argument against those doing difficult births. There's one of a religious interpretation of the resurrection of Jesus, a political interpretation of the Northern Ireland peace process, and one simply just of a nature interpretation of how a sheep is giving birth to a lamb.
3 replies, easy. I'm not worried about spelling, punctuation, this sort of thing.
I believe that this poem has 3 layers about the Easter and the rebirth of Christ, the peace treaty being signed at Belfast, and the birthing of the Lamb.
But why not just talk together as a class?
I think if you actually discuss it on the wiki page, it helps to everyone later, after the wiki war is finished, can read through the notes, pick up different people's opinions, and this helps them revise for exams.
When we did Katrine, me and Aston before, we got set the actual poem of Katrine, and then we did a wiki war on it, but I didn't understand it until after we had a wiki war on it, so it's quite useful because I didn't understand it at all.
You get to weigh up other people's opinions and you kind of go into the poem into more depth if there's more of you.
At the end of the day, Carol looks through one of the wiki threads.
This one's got comments made the other day. 211, 212, 213, 213. Several people around the room are all discussing this one issue simultaneously. You couldn't get that in a class because in a classroom only one person can put their hand up at a time and you can only just do speaking and listening that way. This way, everyone's got a voice and you can see there's 90 responses on this one thing alone. And it's you can see a lot of flow of activity at 234, 246, etc. And then you find that they've gone out of my lesson because that ends at 2:35 and they're still at it somewhere else. And they're carrying on. And they've got loads of quotations in here. He says, right, Lydia, let's settle this. And he goes on, quotation, 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 all the way through. And he says at the end, yeah, just a few. Yeah, you got owned. And that is going on at 5:41 the same day. So obviously it's carrying on way beyond the classroom, and that wasn't set homework. That was simply because they had unfinished business.
So what are the benefits of using this technology?
The benefit is that afterwards they can go home and in a few weeks' time when they've got their mock, they can then revise it at leisure and they can see how the thought processes actually worked. They can then see the connections between other poems, connections they wouldn't have made. And they like listening in to visual conversations. It was visual because they remember seeing it on the screen, and that had massive benefits because on average the boys went from a C to a grade A. In 2 whole grades. They're managing to create something, and it's that creative process that's the difference. It's not simply evaluating or regurgitating knowledge, it's that you're creating, and that's the difference between teaching of yesteryear and teaching of the millennium, the new millennium, because it's now making connections. Web 2 enables that. You couldn't do it any other way.
Year 9 pupils at 9 Style School in Birmingham are making video trailers based on a scene from their set book, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
It was thinking around how to use ICT and digital media to make a subject which has been traditionally quite hard to teach easier to access. And I think by taking the form of trailers for a computer game, which is a form that students are obviously very familiar with and have a good understanding of the conventions of, and then extrapolating a text which they maybe find quite challenging and making the one into the other, I think that process that they go through, I think the IT encourages them because it helps them think a little bit more creatively. It also builds on skills that students have got.
Each group will have 30 minutes to shoot a trailer for a Gothic video game based on the murder of Sir Danvers Carew. But whatever they shoot must be based on a solid understanding of the text.
What you need to do now is in your groups you're going to
So English teacher Lisa Lockley checks out their grasp of setting, character and plot.
Plot is just a posh word for what? What do we mean by plot? The plot of this chapter. Xavier?
What's happening in the story.
Fantastic. The story, really, the narrative, what's going on. And how can I tell that you've read and understood Jekyll and Hyde really well? What could you use?
You can include quotes into your game trailer.
Fantastic. Not just include quotes, but what's... Okay, so plot. Be focusing them on Jekyll and Hyde, isolating quotes, in order for them to be able to explain and reflect upon what they made, how they made it, and why they made it the way they did.
Oh, this bit?
Yeah.
Is that the same bit you're looking for?
Never a word and seem to listen.
So we need some more describing on the characters. This is the plot, and this is where Hyde kills Carew.
the moon shone on his face.
And why have you selected that one? Why is that one important?
Because it's like shows that the street's got like it's moonlit.
And what atmosphere does that create?
Like mysterious.
Fantastic, brilliant, well done.
Although the fog rode over the city in the small hours, the early part of the night was cloudless, and the lane which the maid's window overlooked was brilliantly lit by the full moon.
Good. And why is that a good one, Amy, do you think?
Because of the fog sets like a gothic atmosphere.
A gothic atmosphere, brilliant, well done. 4 minutes, they need to be stuck on the board. 4 minutes.
Take that one back for me.
Next, they prepare storyboards to show exactly what shots they want to take and what action each shot will contain.
But he said you can't have a bird's eye view either. You can't have the top of your head because they said I've got the right camera angle.
Does it?
But yeah, but this one she sent me an email. You should be able to get an angle of you fainting, but like not from the top, so it'd be like from the side.
We need to delete some scenes and like remake some scenes like that one and that one. Like that one we need to take out because we've got the police cars and police cars don't exist. And that one we just need to take the police cars out and put like the inspector standing over the body looking at the body.
Then some rehearsal to refine the action they're going to shoot and to update their storyboards.
And then I don't hear you. Yeah. I carry on looking for him, but he's already left. Yeah. And then that should be the end, and then we go back out of the game.
And then I say, wow.
If I go inspector, I know where the body went. Yeah. Hello. Hello.
And that's what I'll go.
And then we'll have text, we'll do that in editing, and then somewhere between there we'll have the beat scene, and then we'll have that part, and then you'll be walking away with blood coming out my head, some more blood, and I'll have Jekyll and Hyde, and then you walk over it. Okay, you can get that right? Yeah. Oh, sorry, sir.
Here we are in the drama studio. What we've done, we've set up a green screen so the students can film against it. The idea is that when students film their piece of drama, we can replace the background with images they need for that scene. In this case, it's going to be street scenes of London, they're going to be inside houses, but it could be absolutely anything. OK, that's what you see, that's what the lens will see.
Yep.
You need to make sure all the action takes place within the boundaries of the green.
Within the green.
OK, so what's the first shot?
In their allotted time slot, the pupils explain to the IT staff what they want to shoot.
Okay. No, this one here, that's meant to be blood.
So where's this camera in? Do we need to be closer or above?
Closer.
From the side?
Closer, no. Far, closer, and then the other one's closer.
The background scenery will be added later in the editing to replace the area of green.
Action.
We could have him just go like that, then that would be it.
OK.
There's a wall, and we're off screen, and there's our shadows. I'm lying on the floor, and he's just gone like that to finish me off.
Oh, yeah.
We're doing that bit now.
You zoom into your eyes, that's when you're like at your most deadliest form. Do you get what I mean?
Should I keep the mask on?
Yeah, but make sure your eyes are showing.
The IT staff then help the pupils edit what they've shot.
OK, what we're doing is we're capturing the footage we've just recorded. You click Start Import and it does it for you. But it captures at real time, so the time it took to record will be the same time it takes to capture to the computer.
Do you want this part where he's walking?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get the end part, I think.
We'll get rid of all this part here.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. And then, so there, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. So we'll get rid of this part here. Up to...
No, I think we did two of them. That was the one, that was
This is the one you like.
Yeah.
So just going to stick all of this in a timeline now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 clips. Here are the pictures we currently have. Is that one okay?
This is where the green backcloth is replaced by the background of their choice, such as the Victorian street where the attack took place,
That's cool, that was his language.
or the window from which the maid saw the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. A murderer is among us. A bad deed has been done. Jekyll and Hyde, the video game, coming soon. A murderer is among us. A murderer is among us. A bad deed has been done. It's cool. Jekyll and Hyde, the video game, coming soon. Coming soon.
That's good.
Sound like you're like a snake. Something towards you like a snake.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be in the jungle, doesn't it?
The pupils then choose some horror music from an online library where, for a few pence, you can download tracks that are cleared for copyright.
Sound like you're in like a dark place.
A few final bloody touches.
No violence.
And some suitably horrific lettering.
The process looks very time-consuming, but I think the method by which we get to the final product is very, very effective. And by asking students to think about what they already know when we start out with the project and working around a driving question and having an artefact that they create, I think it keeps the students very focused. And I also think that it makes them responsible for their own learning and empowers them.
And here's a selection from the students' finished Jekyll and Hyde video game trailers.
They can't do it without making judgments about the language in the text, about the narrative in the text, and without deciding what's important and what the audience really need to see in order to create meaning.
I was a bit nervous, perhaps, about doing it, but once you saw the enthusiasm of the students and they were able to say, Stevenson has done this because it makes me feel, and they knew that by understanding the language they'd be able to make something actually really meaningful for them, transforming it eased my fears a little bit and eased my nerves, because actually it was really worthwhile doing.
Hello?